Hey everybody, this is Coach Allison back once again, and this week, week 43, Defy Aging. We have one circuit. We're going to complete that circuit for 4 rounds, and rounds 1 and 2 are going to be timed a little differently than rounds 3 and 4. Rounds 1 and 2 are going to be timed 40 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And then rounds 3 and 4 are going to be timed 30 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So the time reduces a little bit for your final 2 rounds. So only 6 exercises. It's kind of the benefit of having more rounds. You have fewer exercises. So 6 exercises. Let's do a little review of what those are. Okay, our first exercise is a single arm farmer's carry. Haven't done this one for a while. So we need a weight in each hand. I recommend a kettlebell because of the bottom loaded weight as opposed to the dumbbell that has a weight on each side, which can kind of have a teetery feel to it. So that's my recommendation, kettlebell. So only weight in one side. So make sure you pick that weight up safely when you're picking it up off the floor. Once you pick it up, I want you to kind of square your shoulders. When you pick it up, you might feel kind of lopsided like this. So take one moment and kind of pick up your shoulder, square your shoulders down and back. Kind of how I lifted up that shoulder and brought it down and back. You want to feel nice and level here. It's going to feel inside your body. It's going to not feel level. It's going to feel kind of like you're maybe kicking up this shoulder. Most of our clubs have a lot of mirrors around. Try to do this one somewhere in front of a mirror so you can make sure you're level. If you're not able to see yourself, sometimes again, you're kind of kicking up that shoulder, compensating. Anyway, so level that out. You're going to feel your oblique muscles working to use those core muscles to stabilize. So balance that out. And your coach will have a route set up for this. And we're going to do that single arm carry. You don't have to go fast. You also don't want to go slow motion. So go a nice steady pace. When you get to the end of the route, turn around and go forward. We're not going to do backwards or anything. Do the entire set on the same side. Next time you come around, switch sides. So you'll end up doing 2 of the 40-second rounds on one side and then 2 of the 30-second rounds on each side as well. I think I said that right. 2 of the 40-second rounds on each side, 2 30-second rounds on each side. That way we don't have to worry about switching sides in the middle of the set. Okay, so that is our single arm farmer's carry. Next station, contralateral single leg deadlift. This is actually, the name's a little confusing. Don't let that intimidate you. It's the exact same exercise that we do in our warm-up that we've been doing for almost 2 months now. So the exact same exercise. I'm just going to challenge you to use a little bit of weights now that we've been doing that warm-up for, again, almost 2 months. Grab a weight. You can start light if you want. Grab whatever weight you like. So you can use a dumbbell or a kettlebell for this. Now, a dumbbell might be advantageous in this because it has the dumbbell, the weight on each side that might help to balance you out a little. I'm just sticking with the kettlebell because it's what I had for the previous demonstration. So you can do either. But you guys know this because you've been doing the warm-up for almost 2 months now. The contralateral simply refers to the work being on one leg and the weight being in the other side of the body. So work here, weight here. That's the contralateral. That's a fancy word for that. And then the single leg, of course, refers to just doing the work on the single leg. So same as in the warm-up, you can have that free hand holding on to something for balance. That's totally fine. But I guess I don't really need to go through this too much because we've been doing it in our warm-up for 2 months. Balance on that leg that you're working. Soft bend in the knee. The other leg I want to go way up and back. So I want you to avoid keeping that leg that's not working. I'm going to switch sides here to show you the leg that's not working. I want you to avoid keeping that leg too close into the body here. I want you to really stretch it out. Okay, that really does have a benefit here. I want you to put your body weight in your heel. A lot of little reminders here. So anyways, and then the weights that you're holding just draw straight down. I don't want you to try to put it out. So straight down. Notice the pretty good bend I have in this knee. Now it's not a squat. I'm not putting so much bend in this knee that it's a squat. But I do have a pretty good, decent sized bend in that knee. But notice how I'm hinging. I'm going like this with my body, right? It's a hinge. I'm hinging at that hip. It's hard for me to, I'm tipping a lot. It is a lot of balance, but I'm bending forward and looking sideways, so that is hard on the balance. So give me a little grace on that. Notice how my weight is going straight down, right? I said the weight's not going forward. You should feel the work in that hamstring and glute. So that was a fast demo for this. A demo for a deadlift could be like 10 minutes long, so I'm trying to avoid that. Keep your back nice and flat. So see how my back's nice and flat? I'm not, oh my goodness, I'm not rounding and hunching my back like this. So my back is nice and flat. Your coach will help you with all these cues. But again, you've been doing this movement for all of September and now all of October. So hopefully this movement is really ingrained in your muscle memory. And now we're just adding a little bit of weights to really feel that good hamstring and glute muscle and start to really strengthen those muscles. So same thing as with the farmer's carry. Do all of round one on one leg and then all of round two on the other leg, all of round three back to that first leg, all of round four on that second leg. So that'll even everything out. Lateral box run. Okay, you can choose your height, but you actually don't really want a lot of height here. That's not really the goal. The goal more is speed as opposed to height. Height would be more of a step up. So we go up, up, down, down. And then once you get comfortable with the height and everything and comfortable with the movement, add a little bit of speed. Up, up, down, down, up, down, down. Notice how I'm keeping my head relatively still, level. I mean, it's bouncing up a little bit, but you want the movement to kind of be in the legs more so than like you're like bouncing up and down really high. See, now my head is, the whole body is raising and lowering. Instead, kind of want to keep your knees bent the whole time. Now my head is staying pretty level. So that's what you want to go for. I definitely recommend keeping your gaze slightly down at the box. And even if you have a mirror in front of you so you can see the box, people tend to kind of creep forward. And then you start to run out of box and you might stumble off the front of it. So I definitely recommend gazing downward with your eyes, maybe a tiny tilt with your head, but try to avoid like looking down like this because then we are sacrificing our posture, right? We don't want to be doing this. So don't do that. Just kind of gaze slightly down with your eyes and your chin, your head, so that way you're still keeping your good posture and everything, but you're staying safe. You're able to see where you're stepping so we don't miss the box. So that's our lateral box run. Next station, stability ball overhead press. So we're going to grab a stability ball, obviously, have a seat. That already adds a little bit of instability, so need for core, as opposed to sitting on a hard surface like a bench. Okay, put your feet about hip width apart. Weight in each hand, palms forward, standard overhead press here. And there we go, press up. The higher you get your arms, I know you can't go higher than this, but I'm just saying, you'll notice right here, the stability isn't that difficult. The higher and higher you press into your shoulder press, now up here, the balance is getting a little harder. So you'll notice that. Keep your core tight so your belly button pulled in. Exhale on the way up. Don't worry about going fast. You never want to go for speed when you're pressing weights overhead. So that's our stability ball overhead press. You can definitely change that to a box or a bench if the ball is not working for you. All right, the next exercise, the next station is a TRX hip bridge. So we have never done this before, this variety of a hip bridge in Defy. We've done many other varieties of hip bridges, floor, incline, stability ball. So, alrighty. Your coach, I have these a little high. These will be set up for the right height beforehand. I mean, everyone is a little bit different height themselves, but for the most part, we want these at a certain height setting for this exercise, as opposed to a standing exercise like a back row. But anyway, I suggested to our coaches to kind of be around this station at the transitions to kind of help you guys get in and out of this quicker, because it's a little cumbersome to get in and out of yourself. So anyway, we don't want that to be a huge issue. So your coach can help you get in and out of it. What you do is you rest your heel in the cradle here. and the flat of your foot kind of pushes against or rests against the handle. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm putting my heel in the cradle, okay, and then I'm resting the flat of my foot against the handle. You see how I'm doing that? Okay. All right, I'm trying to get my whole body in the frame. That's why I'm moving around so awkwardly. You want about a 90-degree bend in your knees, just like you would do this with your feet on a box or a bench, normal incline. Lay back and hands on the floor like normal. I guess I did not have the camera in the best spot. And we lift the hips like a normal bridge. Okay. All right, so hamstrings and glutes is the primary focus here. The reason this is an extra a progression and added challenge is because these TRXs, they move all over the place, right? So you're having to stabilize, very similar to the stability ball hamstring hip bridge variety. You're having to do a lot of stabilizing. You're going to feel a lot of calf too. It's not the primary focus of this exercise, but you're going to feel a lot of calf. So if you're feeling that, you're not doing anything wrong. When you're done, you can kind of just shake your feet out of there. Alrighty, so that is that. It is new. It is different. So if you, pardon me, if you try the first round and it's a little cumbersome and you're kind of all over the place, please don't get too discouraged with it. Give it a second or third try because it's new and challenging. Anything that's new and challenging, it's going to take some getting used to, right? An alternative would be using a box. So doing a standard incline hip bridge. So take one of our boxes like this. I won't do the full thing because it's the same, putting your heels in the box like this, right? And then for anyone not getting onto the floor, I suggested a sumo squat as an alternative for anyone staying off the floor. So that wide squat with the toes out. Typically, I would do a deadlift for an alternative to a hip bridge because it targets that same muscle group, the hamstrings and the glutes. But we already have the single leg deadlift earlier in the workout. So I suggested a sumo squat, but your coach might have a different variety. If they come up with something different for an alternative, wonderful, great. So they might have a different alternative for you. All right, let's try this TRX hip bridge this week. Next up is a kettlebell racked rotation. This one is also new for Defy. So we are doing quite a few new exercises this week. So we've gone over the racked position for the kettlebell. It is not very watch friendly. I just have a flat little thing. But if you have a bigger watch, you want to flip it under so the watch is underneath your wrist or take it off for this. Anywho, got our kettlebells. All right, so the racked position for a kettlebell is up here. So to pick that up safely, I guess I'll just do it with both. A little bit of a hinge in your hip with some momentum. And then we kind of do a rotation or a twist. We're not flipping it over like that. That's super uncomfortable. It's risky on your wrists, and it's going to cause a little bit of a bump in your forearm there. But instead, try to do it in kind of a slow motion. We bring it up, rotate it around. You see how I kind of did that rotation? You have a loose grip on it, so it can twist in the palm of your hand. If you're gripping it for dear life, it can't twist, right? So hopefully we've done enough of these so you can know how to kind of get it up there, because you won't have, if we do a single arm rack, we have this other hand to kind of help it. But we're doing double arms, so you don't have a free hand to help it. So you have to know how to do that rotation to kind of get it up there. All right. We haven't even got over the exercise yet. That's just getting those kettlebells up there. Once you have it up here, it's not back like this. This is not a racked position. The racked position, the curve of the kettlebell handle is kind of in the crook of your pointer finger and thumb. So you're not holding directly in the center. You're actually kind of holding it up here slightly. Your thumb should be about at your sternum, so kind of touching your chest. If your thumb is this far away from your body, you're not doing the racked position correctly, okay? So bring those thumbs into your sternum. Elbows are angled slightly downward. See my elbows? They're not back like this, they're not out. If you check your elbow position and you check your thumb position, those should bring your racked position perfectly. The elbow kind of rests right in the little V of your the elbow rest. The kettlebell rests right in the little V of your elbow. So this is a proper racked position. It's okay if your knuckles are touching with doing the double, that's fine. I know that was a lot to get the rack position correct, but it's very important. If we're back here, we're risking our shoulders. The weights could pull you backwards. It's a lot of strain on the anterior delt, so we don't want this. When they're here, you're engaging the correct muscles. A lot of core work as well. All right, the rotation part. We're going to do a quarter turn slowly while we're holding this racked position. You're working shoulders, chest, and core, and then coordination and balance with this rotation. When you rotate, notice how I'm keeping my posture really tall, as opposed to now watch this, kind of like leaning, so no leaning. I want you to watch my feet. I'm doing a pivot to help me get a more complete quarter turn. If I just do this, I'm not really actually turning, I'm kind of just looking. But now if I pivot, I'm getting a full, complete quarter turn. Okay, now holding that for that long, my upper arms, shoulders, and chest on both sides were getting very fatigued. My core muscles were getting very fatigued, and then I was working those oblique muscles when I was doing that rotation. A lot of coordination and balance. So the rack position itself is a challenge, so work on that. Once you get that position down, we can work on the turning, the rotating. That's a very good exercise. Again, just like we said with the TRX hip bridge, if the first round you're kind of still just getting the hang of the racked position, that's okay. We have 3 more rounds to go. So please don't get discouraged. Give it some practice. And I hope you enjoy this new move as well. Last, but of course not least, is the team builder. You will need a partner for this. So it's a partner band rotation. I forgot what I called it. But you're going to be... I should have checked first. You're going to be working your core. Core rotation, I think I called it. So you need just one band. So my partner is going to be the rack. How sad is that? I don't have a partner with me. Anywho, but you just need one band. You don't need 2. You're not hooking the bands together. You're each just going to grab one end of it, and you're going to have to overlap your hands a little bit, your own grip on the handle. Okay, so your arms are stretched out like this. Kind of similar to that last exercise, the rotation, sort of. We've done this before in the routine. Now, I'm going to turn to my left. My partner is also going to turn to their left. So even though we're both turning to our own left, we're going to be pulling away from each other. We're going to be looking like we're going in opposite directions, because my left, facing my partner, my left is opposing my partner's left, if that makes sense. So we're both turning to our left. So you keep your arms, exhale on the pull. Keep your arms right in front of your chest. Notice I'm kind of doing that pivot again with my foot to get that nice quarter turn. Keep your arms right in front of your chest. So I'm not turning my body, but my hands are kind of trailing behind. Also let your gaze, your head, and your shoulders follow your hands. Meaning I'm not turning my hands and my arms, but my head and my gaze are staying forward. That's what I'm not doing. Because the range of motion is better when your eyes go with the turn. So my head, my gaze, so my eyeballs, my head, my shoulders, my chest, my arms, everything is going with the turn. So my partner and I are going to go in that same direction, continual, for 30 seconds. Everyone's going to shake it out for a couple seconds of a break, and then everyone's going to go to the other direction. So now me and my partner are both twisting to our right for 30 seconds. Okay? You're going to feel a little bit of glutes with the leg that you're pivoting. Okay? You're going to feel a lot of core. And yeah, that's a nice core finisher. You got to work with your partner though, because you want to be twisting at the exact same time. So if I'm kind of twisting off tempo with my partner, it's like going to be kind of a mess. You're not going to feel when you're coming back from the twist, but your partner's pulling, you're going to get kind of tippy. So you have to work together, get on kind of a tempo, maybe say with your partner, pull, pull. I don't know, it sounds kind of cheesy, but whatever works, work together. It is called a team builder. And let's target that core for the final thing, the final part of our session. All right, that is week 43. A couple new things this week. I hope you enjoy mixing in some of these new moves after all of these years. And I'll see you back next week for week 44.